is my mail-in ballot. Dude, I never received it. All right, we sent our absentee ballots the same day. Mm-hmm. Ours was sent out the same day from the town clerk's office to receive back to us. Yeah. He got his like 3 days later.
Yeah, I've had it for a while. I've been waiting for Brittney to get hers.
Lost in the ether, never to be seen of.
Yeah, I don't understand it. Really, I don't know why this is happening. It doesn't make any sense.
I think it's a conspiracy.
I don't know if it's a conspiracy. I think it's ridiculous that we haven't gotten it yet, but...
I think it is connected to the mail thing that's happening right now. The USPS cuts and just overall mishandling.
Yeah, and that's been going on for a while, but who are you specifically blaming? Are you blaming Trump, or are you blaming who we just instated as the new postmaster?
I'm blaming the Trump administration.
Okay, that's fair enough. Yeah, and I would agree.
There was an article from the New York Times, mail delays fuel... There was an article from the New York Times. Mail delays fuel concern Trump is undercutting postal system ahead of voting. Which, that headline in itself is funny to me, because you remember all the headlines Trump was like, oh man, it's gonna be fraud. The mail-in ballots, the election will be fraud. Mm-hmm. Why do I feel like the only person with his hands in the bucket for this whole mail-in ballot thing is Trump causing fraud?
It's very true.
I feel like it was like, oh, there's gonna be fraud for the mail-in ballots. Nothing happens. Radio silence. Everything's going great.
For a while, too. Ever since, COVID, we've been talking about this. Since the beginning of COVID. But now that we're getting closer, people are actually making moves and steps to change things.
Exactly. We're on a roll. And then, the little thing that happens was like, oh, something bad's gonna happen. Something's gonna mess up the system. But what do we use to mail these? The USPS. A organization funded and controlled by the government.
It's very true.
The one group that is affecting the efficiency of mail-in ballots and their usage is the Trump administration. Mm-hmm. They're the reason for the fraud that they're claiming will happen. That thought process, I don't know if it's linear. It might be linear.
Yeah, the thought process isn't great.
It's just you are the reason this is happening.
Yeah, Trump has definitely had his fingers in the cookie jar. The only person, freaking out about it that much. And I don't know. He's the one who's also said that if everybody in the United States used mail-in voting, that Republicans would never win another election again. He said that, I'm pretty sure, early pandemic. It all kind of blurs together. I'm sure we can all attest to the pandemic slowly blurring together, but I know he said that, and that's just not... it's possible that that's what it would happen, but basically what he really wants to do is suppress the vote. He doesn't want everybody to vote because he knows the majority of the country doesn't like him. Yeah. And half the problem is the majority of the country also doesn't vote.
I feel like it's the same mindset of you do more tests, you have more the more tests you do, the more cases you have. The more people who vote, the more I will lose by.
Yeah, I agree. It is very similar logic.
Members of Congress and other state officials are warning that a huge wave of ballots could overwhelm mail carriers unless the Postal Service, in financial difficulty for years, receives emergency funding that the Republicans are blocking during the negotiation of the pandemic relief bill. But people who are being affected by this as well are the people who actually work in the post office, because they've cut the overtime pay for all employees who work at the post office. They have changed sort of rules and regulations on how to operate with mail, and it's one, you are harming not only the American people in general, which, why is the President of the United States and their administration harming the American people? That's another topic. But also, you're harming the employees who you say you value. A lot of these people, I wouldn't say people enjoy working overtime. That's not what I'm saying. That's right. But there are the benefits of if you do work overtime, you get the support that comes with that. You get what you've earned. And with that, people are putting their time in to make sure that people like us can get our mail on a timely basis so that I can get my election ballot within a week of ordering it, not 2 days before the election where I can't even mail it in anymore. It's just ridiculous.
At least we can, once we get your ballot, we can hopefully fill them out and bring them to the town clerk. But yeah, it's just too bad because you're right. That overtime is important for some people, and I don't know, why would you say that? Because Republicans are always we're the party of hard workers and we care about hardworking people. But why wouldn't you let these people keep working overtime? That's just ridiculous. The problems, the fiscal problems that are going on at the USPS are way beyond this administration. It's just too bad because it stops people from working that overtime, but then people also can't get their mail on time. It's the only way that we send actual letters is the USPS. You don't bring a letter into fucking FedEx. You know, UPS isn't gonna send your grandmother a birthday card. Yeah, and could it be some plot for Trump to hinder the USPS before the election? Honestly, I think he's that devious that, yeah, it could be.
I think it's just crazy. Like, you say there's going to be fraud.
Mhm.
Mail-in ballots are going to cause fraud.
Mhm.
Someone's going to double vote, whatever, all this stuff. But you see, your like, maybe not your constituents, but like people who you are representing in your country, you see them still moving forward with doing this process. How do you, maybe not actively, but allow people in your administration, you at least found out about it. Don't tell me you don't know. Don't tell me you don't know about it now. You actively are doing things to hurt the process in which the people are trying to use. Like,
Well, we have to, really, because...
exactly. Like,
I mean, the majority of people are not going to want to go wait in line with a pandemic. With however severe you think it is, if wherever people are like lying on the spectrum of how bad they think COVID is, like in Vermont, a lot of mail-in voting, like every Vermonter is going to get their ballot. Right?
many states have already loosened restrictions on who can vote by mail. In Kentucky, mail-in ballots accounted for 85% of the votes in June's primary. In their June primary, it was 85% of the votes were mail-in ballots.
Oh, wow.
And in Vermont, requests for mail-in ballots went up 1,000%
Wow.
over 2018.
Wow, that's huge.
1,000%!
Wow.
1.8 million people in Michigan had requested mail-in ballots by the end of July, compared to just 500,000
Oh, wow.
for the similar time for the last year, for 4 years ago, the last presidential.
2016.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
This is how the people want to do it. This is the safest way for our people to do this. Voting is a right, and we're not going to allow a pandemic to take that right away. Support the USPS.
Yes.
And vote.
Yes, and vote. They don't want to. They don't want to.